8:41 on this Monday morning, the 6th day of January, 2025. I'm John Reid, and certainly glad to be back with you as we start a brand new year. A lot of things happening in politics and on college campuses. Jim Bacon from baconsrebellion.com, he's also with the Jefferson Council, is trying to reform and restore some of the dignity of the University of Virginia. Jim is with us this morning, and I took note of one of your stories about amateur athletics, and a lot of people have told me, look, John, it's a joke. This is even 10, 15 years ago. It's not amateur athletics anymore. They're trying to hold on to that. Now everybody's kind of thrown their hands up and said, to heck with it, we're just going to pay these people, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. It's a result of an NCAA settlement that basiche professionalizes college athletics. And as athletic director Ed McLaughlin at VCU, he said, amateurism as we know it is dead.
Yeah.
And
now, is that good? Or is that good? I mean, if you got a skill that people want to pay to see, why shouldn't the student athlete who's putting their body on the line, why shouldn't they make some money from this?
Right. Well, that's exactly the argument, and there is a point to be made for that. So I will grant that. That's not the kind of what I think of is the kind of thing that the universities ought to be in the business of doing. And that's basically the universities are providing entertainment. Right. And the value for universities of the big football and basketball programs, and that's who we're talking about, is football and basketball players.
Right,
is getting this money. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of lacrosse players or crew team players. Those people aren't going to be making a lot of money. But so it's the football and basketball, and those are the things that are on TV, and those are the things that get everybody all excited and the alumni all excited, and it keeps the alumni engaged and coming back to campus and donating money. So, I mean, that's really what it's all about. But
where does the money come from? Is it ticket sales and jerseys and or alumni donations directly to a fund to bring these athletes in? Where are they going to find the money to pay these guys?
Well, as you suggest, it's a mix. So you get a lot of donations, and from cranked up alumni who love this stuff. You get like the apparel sales and the jersey sales. You have ticket sales, but what's my big issue is that you also have athletic fees. So students are charged as part of their tuition and fees. They're charged a significant amount of money to help pay for what they supposedly enjoy as an amenity at the university.
No way. Really? There's an athletic fee?
Oh, yeah. At VCU, okay, this is according to Richmond Thomas Badge, VCU students pay a $1,400 a year athletic fee.
Wow. And that's just, what, do they get free tickets for the $1,400?
Yeah, then they get I guess I'm not sure how they allocate the tickets. If everybody wants to go, they may have to kind of be first come, first serve. I know kids there who have just no interest in going to basketball games, have never been to a basketball game, and so they're just paying $1,400 a year for something they don't use over the course of a 4-year attendance, assuming you can graduate in 4 years.
Yeah.
That's $5,600.
Right. That
the average kid pays, and because so many kids end up borrowing money, that's $5,600 they borrow, and ends up they have to pay back at some point. And meanwhile, so then you're going to have, they might go to be in the same class as some other kid who's getting paid $100,000 a year to attend. He's being paid, and this other kid is helping paying for it. So I don't know. I just have huge problems with that, and on a moral and ethical basis.
Right, I agree with you.
And at VCU, then they say McLaughlin says they're going to come up with about another $400 or $500 million to do this, and to pay.
Wow.
It's primarily the basketball players. I mean, the basketball players are the ones who basically. I mean, that's the only program that really pays for itself or comes close to it. So and that's in order to compete in NCAA athletics, and everybody else is paying their athletes. I mean, I'm sorry, there's not going to be a lot of people who are going to come to VCU and play big-time basketball just in order to qualify for a VCU scholarship. So you're going to have to pay them, and you have to pay them a lot of money in order to get these guys. And,
do they still go? I mean, I guess it varies from school to school. Do college athletes still go to class? When I was at Baylor, one of my friends was a kicker on the football team. And I was dumb when it came to some math classes, and he was a great guy, but he was dumb when it came to it. So here we were together in math class, and but he had to be there, man. The coach was a guy named Grant Taff at the time, and he insisted that his players go to class. I don't know whether he had rules and regulations about what their final scores had to be and everything, but he was there. Do they have to do that? If you're making that kind of money, do the guys even care at that point?
Well, it'd be interesting to see how that evolves. I mean, I think the current practice today, and I speak with most authority about the University of Virginia, but
right.
They are expected to go to class, and UVA. And I'll say this in UVA's defense. I criticize them all the time. But they have high expectations. They have one of the highest GPAs among their athletes of any university in the country.
And those are real numbers?
Yeah. Those are real numbers, and as real as anybody's numbers are, I guess.
Okay.
So, the expectation is you go to class. But if someone's getting paid $100,000 a year, and they think that, okay, their aspiration is to go pro.
Yeah.
Are they really going to make an effort? And look, we're just seeing kind of collapsing standards across the board and collapsing expectations everywhere, and grade inflation and all the rest of it. I mean, how long is it before we just recognize that, okay, we're recruiting these young people to be, in effect, professional athletes
to entertain
to support
us.
Our athletic program.
Yeah.
And
that shouldn't be off the back of the young person from Bristol who comes to Richmond and is seeking a professional degree and is just putting pennies together trying to make ends meet. That shouldn't be off that guy's back.
Yeah, I mean, VCU is like, they pride themselves of being serving first generation students.
Right. Yeah.
Like a huge percentage of VCU are first generation, first time in their family anyone's gone to college, and a very high percentage of them have to borrow money. And they charge a lot of money. It costs you well over $30,000 a year between room and board and tuition and fees to go to VCU.
It's not cheap.
Although, it's not cheap. Although there is financial aid, so not everybody pays the full. Well, very few people pay the full price.
And then when they don't build their building and they throw away $100 million, hey, I mean, listen,
right.
There's something seriously wrong with the way these schools are being run in Virginia. And I just think there's got to be some sort of reform movement that's not vindictive, that's not trying to put people in jail, but that just says, come on, this is not, there's a problem here, and we got to get it under control. Jim Bacon, baconsrebellion.com. Check it out, as I do every day. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, John.
8:50. We're back with more in just a moment on News Radio WRVA.